Education as a chairman for this session. I welcome you, sir. I request Dr. S. Morgan to take over the dais.
I hope all of you had your heavy lunch. So it is very difficult to sit over here. Anyhow, now we are moving to the second session of the third day. So it's my duty to introduce our guest. So good afternoon to one and all present here. It's my great honor and pleasure to introduce today's guest and my friend, Dr. Murugan. Why I have mentioned my friend? He was my colleague 10 years before. He worked as an assistant professor in the Department of Microbiology. That's why it's my pleasure to introduce my friend here. He has completed his postgraduate degree from Manonamaniyam Sundaranaar University and PhD in Microbiology from Bharatiya University. He has also completed PG Diploma in Nanobiotechnology and PG Diploma in Higher Education. He is a certified organizer and trainer of regional research-based psychological tools, sponsored by DPT, Government of India, Newton Baba Fund of British Council, IISER Pune, and Sheffield Hallam University, UK. He received Best Research Paper Award for the academic year 2012 from Karunya University. In the year 2017, he also received Best Citizen of India Award from International Publishing House, New Delhi. Dr. Murugan has 20 years of teaching experience, and he is presently working as Associate Professor in Karunya Institute of Technology and Sciences, Coimbatore. He has published more than 70 articles in reputed national and international journals and regional newspapers. He has produced 6 PhDs. So far, he received rupees 66 lakhs from various funding agencies like DST, ICSSR, DPT, UGC, Karunya short-term grant seed money as principal and co-principal investigator. Dr. Murugan is going to deliver his talk on the topic inquiry-based learning. So all of you are aware about learning. It is not only for students, it is for staff also. It is a continuous process. So that's why we are all here. That's why we are all attending the 7 days faculty development program. It is part of our duty to enhance ourselves. So here, even inquiry-based learning, even at the end of each and every session, our faculty members, they are raising so many number of questions. So what, where, when, how? When we are able to get the answer for these questions, definitely that is our knowledge that is going to be improved. That is what we call as a inquiry-based learning. So now with these few words, now I invite Dr. Murugan to take the dais. Thank you, sir.
So I can move, right? Pointer, okay.
Previously, next
okay,
slide.
right. So good afternoon to all of you. I know the tough part of sitting in a class after lunch, right? So I had my lunch very little because I should not make you to doze. Therefore, I believe that you also would have had stomach full of meals, but still I urge all of you to move along with me for next 1 hour, 1.5 hours, so that you'll be able to learn something about which we have learned, but we just try to refresh the knowledge of learning and thereby we transfer this learned process to our student community. And as we all know that generations, like as for teachers, it's a tough time to handle the students from the morning to the evening in a regular class. And so you might have heard about millennials or Generation Y, where the age group of 9 to 29. Okay, so when we talk about this Generation Y or Millennium Children's, okay, right. Okay, so when we talk about this Generation Y or millennials children, and most of us like you would have learned about curriculum, and we say that we have given the syllabus to our students, and students would be learning from the materials what is available from the textbook or from the internet sources. Now recent research says that though the children have the mobile with their in their hand, and we all presume that they would get whatever the materials they need, it is in their hand. But the research data says that the students usually use this technology only for recreational activities, not for the academic purposes. We all say that they have the internet sources, they have the gadgets with their hand, but they can easily get the information what they require. But actually the research data says that the students do not use this technology for academic purposes, rather than they simply waste their time. And we all say that they are all millennial children, but these millennial children have lost the value of life, they have lost the value of ethics, plus they lost the value to travel towards the academic excellence. That is what the recent research says. That's how we are able to see in our students' life in day to day. And again, they also, rather than having gained the knowledge on the subject, they try to have knowledge on the campus. Okay, rather than being inside the class, they love to be outside the class. And when you compare the knowledge, what they've obtained is more from the campus, not from the subject. That's another findings from the one of the book which I read recently. And one more interesting thing is that since we are attending faculty development program, and either for the government staff or the private staff, so after attending a 7 days program or 14 days program or 21 days program, we would like to submit our certificate back to the institution and get some credit or earn some API score and something like that. But for today, like I am also a fellow teacher like you, and you have made me, I am a student of among yourself, but you have made me to be a teacher for a day, right? You have been given an opportunity for me to serve as a teacher for a day. That's how we need to tune our students to, for a day in a class, so that he or she would explore the knowledge what she or she has gained in the subject. So we just do this FDP program as a customized program, right? FDP, like you say that my department has organized an event, or my institution has organized an event. I have been part of this FDP, so and so. But this should not be like a, a requirement which is satisfactory, but actually it should be like a part and parcel of learning process. A faculty need to be, to be acting as a student for a day. Then we'll be knowing the difficulties of the students. We are just opponent now today. You are sitting there, I am just talking here. So my duty to talk many things, and your job is to listen to me. Sometimes it will be interesting, sometimes it will be boring. But actually for a day, we are not here to learn new things, but we are here to understand the role of student. We should come across what students face in the class, what difficulties he or she is experiencing it. That is what the meaning of FDP has to be changed. That is what the education expert says. Okay, so that's about the millennial generations. Next slide. Right, so these are our students. You know what they do, they always serve, they always scan, and they always expect constant immediate feedback. Immediately they want everything immediate. They want the results immediately, they want a respond yes or no immediately. They don't have the patience to wait for some more time and get the reply from the faculties. They're straightforward. They're straightforward, they do not have patience at all, and they're all technologically savvy, but they crave for personal contact. Rather than for the teamwork, they work for the personal contact. They're always hurried, they know what they want and they want to learn actually. Right? Want to learn sense, they can learn from either from the teachers or from the internet sources. Next. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is our faculty, that's where we are, and we say that the teachers are the healthiest and wealthiest of generation to date, but as you compare, you know, the faculties of different institutions, it's not so. We say healthiest and wealthiest, but for this group we don't say it is healthiest and wealthiest, and we always just try to redefine the traditional values. We try to inculcate the traditional value to the student community, but they are not in a position to listen to us, and we work very hard to keep our working position, and we are trying to have, we say teaching is a passion, we try to change the world, and we always believe in hierarchy, right, and we try to adapt to more flexible arrangement. So whatever the curriculum says, next year there is a change in syllabus, we say yes. If institution says something, we will say yes. If head of the department says yes, something you change, yes. We don't resist. So that is our caliber, but our students are just opposite to us. And this is how the faculty spend in class timings. So we always keep lecturing for 60%, and student group work 15%, and student interview work 10%, and others is 15%. This is the average time how the faculty spend in the class. So finally, what do students retain? That's a big question mark. So at the end of the class, if you ask few questions, they say yes, sometimes they respond, sometimes they not respond. They say we did not understand, and finally 15 minutes class is over, we just move out of the class. Okay, and this is a famous proverb like, so tell me, I will forget, show me, I may remember, involve me, I will understand. Actually, in fact, I was thinking of giving some activities for the faculties. Since the number is 250, I think physically it's very difficult for me to go with the activities. Actually, the inquiry-based learning is more of activity rather than giving a lecture and receiving. Okay, so this is a Chinese proverb where, and you see here, like, you can see the retention rate, like we get around 70% what we learn actually, but by listening we'll just get only 5%. Okay, this is statistic results, like we retain 75% of the information or knowledge what we learn by teamwork, but by listening we just only 5%. In the past they were saying that what is effective listening or hearing. So as teachers we tend to deliver informations, and we expect students to listen to our class, but again at the same time we should insist our students to not only to listen to the class, at the same time take few points, because not all the points in the slide may not help them to write their exams. So we may be giving some extra information also. So that is what they say effective listening and hearing skill. The same Benjamin Franklin, what I told, the same adage. So these are the teacher's survival tool. So which we say, for a good teacher we need to have a good textbook. For a good teacher we need to have a good textbook. Even if you ask to submit a lesson plan, your teaching plan, we need to have a textbook, because we are supposed to submit the teaching plan with page number, this textbook, that textbook, etc., etc. That has to be circulated to the students. If you don't have a good textbook, then really our job becomes very difficult. So we always depend on the textbook, then we all depend on the worksheet or some other information what is available, and 90% of new teachers use textbooks as basic teaching and reference tools, and we go by step what is there in the textbook, we just try to reproduce what is in the textbook. And this is the risk what the teachers face in today's teaching process. We always confuse survival teaching. When you come to college, we think about teaching. When we go back after 5 o'clock, we think about survival, because people like us, when working in private institution, we talk about more about uncertainty. So our job is not permanent. So by that, we lose a lot of concentrations in teaching, and we always tend to teach on some topics or some subjects or course what is given to us, and we don't give the ownership for the students to work independently or learn independently. We always try to keep them like within our hands. Next, we never encourage students to explore new things. We never give any opportunity for them to talk openness. So that is the risk what the teachers face. This is especially with the new teachers. Okay, so before moving to my topic, inquiry based learning, if you look at this cartoon, I want around 5 or 6 teachers to respond to this cartoon. You can just express your opinion after going through this cartoon. So I want your participation. You have to express your comment on this. You can see this image shows the 2 different situations. So this I took it from yesterday's Hindu cartoon. So I given a clue. Yes, sir. Sir, mic couldn't work.
I'm really surprised by the 2 contrasting images which you have put up before the people here. In the first image, which I can understand, that whenever we give lot of promises, we actually give promises of very high, that we will give you that and we will give you that, but in reality actually doesn't reach to all of the people.
Definitely.
So the promises will be very high, which will not reach to many people, but in reality that is actually both the images. First one is the reality, the imagination, second one the reality.
Yes, yeah, true. So this I'm just trying to connect with the teachers. This is actually the cartoon of a politicians, because we are facing elections in some states, few states, and we have the parliamentary elections coming up in the month of May. So I thought like I could connect this image with my presentation, because during our admission we give a lot of promises to our student community, and after 3 years we know what we deliver actually. Even in the first day of our class, being after a semester break, we are all very refreshed and energized. We tell students that this is what we are going to handle the subject like this. I want your participation, cooperation, so many things. Just like a politicians, we give a lot of promises, okay, what we call tall promises. And finally, when you see at the end of the day, we will be going to the bottom line where the students stand tall. And again, with respect to your outcome based education, we talk about OB, outcome based education, we talk about mapping. Okay, and before we design our course objectives and course outcome, we need to be very careful in designing the course objectives and outcome, because since our HODs ask for a syllabus within a day, so we just copy paste from different sources, we put things in one place. Oh, it has become nice fascination, so we just put it in the paper, printed, it is circulated. Finally, when the faculty who is going to handle the subject will be in terrible position actually. So again, I am just not going to give this level of promises for my lecture. Okay, I'm not creating I'm trying to create a curiosity of learning. Okay, and at the end you will have to say whether my promises were like this A image or B image. So where do we stand actually, right? Okay, so this is what actually, in fact, like in education we talk about the outcome based education, we need to have some course outcome. Even if the officials or the politicians, if they define an outcome like for their own period of 5 years or 10 years, so definitely the nation, the economic output or the economic value of a nation will go up. So I don't give you a tall promises for my lecture, but at the end you will have to decide whether the promise is tall or short. But still you can be a student, and at least you can carry few information which you have not practiced previously, and some of you are practicing it, you can refresh it. Okay. You all enjoyed this picture? Right. So, this is yesterday's Hindu paper, because I love to read Hindu every day for half an hour, okay, without like it really boosts the day's confidence level. And when I go to the class, when I don't prepare, I'll just take some information from Hindu, I talk about science, I'll run the show actually, because we cannot stand in front of the students just like that. Okay. So, this my topic is inquiry based learning. Okay. We do inquiry, right? We say, how are you? Like, we ask all gossips. Okay. Right. So, this is my topic, inquiry based learning. Okay. So, actually we need to have some brainstorming activities in order to fulfill this inquiry based learning, because I had this experience of that Dr. Mohan sir was talking about this research based pedagogical tool, which I attended level 1 and I got selected level 2, and now we are in the process of level 3. So, that gave me confidence to talk about this topic, inquiry based learning, and this is typically an activity based learning rather than just teaching a theory. Okay, so this is the definition of inquiry based learning. It is more focused on using and learning content as a means to develop information processing and problem solving skills. Okay. So, in today's world, we see students do not have the problem solving skills. We just teach theory. We teach theory, we do not teach them problems. We do not train them how to solve the problem, etc., etc. Therefore, we lack in skill life. And this system, this inquiry based learning is more of student centered. We are just a facilitator. A teacher is just a facilitator. A teacher is just a facilitator. If you want, I will just tell my yesterday's experience. I had to conduct a vivas for 15 students of one of the class, PG class. So, I need to sit at least for 1 hour. So, what I did is that all these 15 students should ask question to the other class. The other class was having a presentation. I told you need to sit for an hour, you should ask questions. Whoever asks more questions, he will be given more marks. Okay. So, that is how I run the show, and like through that it was finally the discussion was electrifying and the students really got motivated. They were finally able to learn a lot of subjects and informations. Okay. It should be student centered. As a teacher, we just take the role as a facilitator of learning, and there should be more emphasis on how we come to know, less on what we know. Okay. As teacher, we teach what we know, that is it. We just what we know from the net or from the textbook. So, there should be more emphasis on how we came to know and less on what we know. And students should be involved in the construction of knowledge through active involvement. Okay. Suppose you say, that is why I told you this FDP should not be just carrying a certificate for ourselves. We should get a chance to act like a student. If I give a chart paper to you and form a team of 5 members per group and take a topic, you just get the ideas from all the 5 people, make a chart, make a presentation. Then you know the difficulties. We say, students, you form a group, you do this, that, this. I give you half an hour time, 1 hour time or 1 day, where is the assignment, we submit it, that is it. We just dictate, but we do not know the difficulties what the students go through actually. Okay. So, the students will be getting more interest and they will be engaged more by means of towards the subject or by means of project or doing some small case studies and so on. And so that learning becomes almost effortless when something fascinates students and reflects their interest and goal. Okay, if you follow this inquiry based learning, you will really make the students to be fascinated towards the learning. Even our attendance shortage problem will not face actually. We have a mandatory of 70% or 80% for an exam, and just because they get bored with some subject, they do not come to the class at all. If you make this activities like inquiry based learning, definitely we can increase the attendance percentage of students. And this is what the difference between the inquiry based and traditional. So, we always go with the traditional, that is why I told you today's faculties are traditional bound. So, you see what the traditional teacher expect is that behavior, do not you behave properly, show some good behavior. Rather than teaching subject, we talk about the behavior. And it is passive, just teacher talks, students listen. Then we have the decreased responsibility by traditional means. We act as they just follow our directions, and it is a product oriented, and finally we act as a director or transmitter. We just transmit the knowledges. But whereas in coming to the inquiry based, it is like now the principal learning is constructive. It could be a positive constructivism or negative constructivism, and they are very active actually, very active. Okay, they will be very active and they will have more responsibility. They are more, you would have experienced for conducting our events, when you given a role that you are the chairman, you are the secretary, you are the treasurer, you can see how the students would be acting. But the same flow of action does not come in our class, because we don't give them freedom actually, right? And student role becomes problem solver, and curriculum goal is process oriented than the product, and we talk, a teacher's role is a guide or facilitator. We just become a supervisor. So this is the difference between the inquiry. Now you can just see that two teachers like Mr. X and Mr. Y listen, and Mr. X follows the traditional approach and the Y follows the inquiry based learning. And you can see a sea of changes. You can see a massive changes between X and Y, which I don't want to read it here actually, which I have repeated in the previous slide, because some of the informations can be repeated here. So I don't ask excuse from you, because the repeated of information will bind more to you. There will be more inclination getting to us when we repeat the informations rather than telling the information once. Okay? So some of the points may be repeated, right? So that is just to emphasize the importance of this inquiry based learning. So this is how, like, what we do actually. Most of us, we have to work with the consigns. Like, there's no point to match or compare and fall pity for that. We should it's the right time that we change ourselves, like, because most of us somewhere around 40 or 30, like we have another 20 or 30 years of teaching, career. Therefore, I think if you adopt this, really could see, we can be young like a student, and we can see some lot of changes among the student community. And this is what they change, difference what we observe with the X and Y, and these are the forms of IBL, that is inquiry based learning. So I would urge all of you to do a short exercise in the class. So when you go have your semester by Monday, you can just start with this inquiry based learning, and you can just do either a short exercise, or you can make the whole class to participate, or you can, if you are prepared well, you can go for the whole semester, or you can make your whole program for your BCom or BCom CA or BCA or BSc. You can make the whole program. You can follow the IBL, but thing is that we need to have rigorous practices before we proceed. So without practice and planning, we cannot move further. So we need to, you can just start with a short exercise, and I'm just doing this for last 2 years, and I could see students giving feedback is that it's more interesting, and we are able to know many things, and so many things actually. Like, you can go with the exercise in a class, whole class or whole semester or whole program. And these are some of the ideas which we can take for ourselves for the inquiry based learning, like what will I learn? Okay, students should come that what will I learn, what will I create, what will I solve, or how can I make an impact, what are my interests, what do I love. Okay, so these are some of the the characters which students really would practice, that learning process, creating, solving, impact. Definitely we need to have some impact actually, either a positive impact or negative impact. And like whenever students do any small changes, we need to appreciate them. We need to appreciate them, because if we fail to appreciate them, they'll feel really shy of, and they don't come to the next time to the stage and do things. Okay, so these are some of the ideas for inquiry based learning. Okay, this chart is called KWL chart, and at the end I would request all of you to fill the chart at the end of my session, right? I may cross check with a few of the teachers, because I told you that beginning itself that you have given me a chance to act as a teacher for a day. I am also a student like you, right? So what I know actually, so what I know, what I want to know, and what I learned. So these are the 3 important stages for the students actually. Even for teachers also, as we prepare for the class, we need to understand these 3 things actually, KWL. So what I know, what I want to know, and what I learned. Okay, so do you have hearts? Just put a hot, I'm very hot. Students would say, they get agitated. If you scold them, they'll become very hot and they get irritated, right? We'll be telling very casually, but the students will not respond in a proper way. So do you have hearts? Okay, hearts, right? So this hearts is nothing but, okay, so the goal of inquiry based lesson is to help our students develop hearts. So this HOTS is nothing but the higher order thinking skills. Higher order thinking skills. Many of the commerce people would narrate this experience of Harshad Mehta. If you remember during Narasimha Rao period, he was carrying 1 crore in a suitcase. Still we are clueless how could he able to carry 1 crore in that suitcase, and still we use the word hawala again. Even after 25 years, we still use the term hawala. So that's the kind of people and students are having caliber. When they are able to use in a negative way, why don't they use in a positive way? So we are these teachers, we need to tune them in a right direction. So the main goal of this inquiry based learning is higher order thinking skills. That's why I told you HOTS, HOTS, HOTS. So these are the elements of inquiry based lesson. As I told you, we need to have higher level thinking. We have a lot of resources and tools. Now we, if librarian is here, like even teachers, if you honestly, if you speak, if you ask how many of us visit library daily, no, right? We don't even, like, I think will be very few, right? My experience, I used to go to library every day, but now I don't go to library at all, because we say we have a lot of, the administrative work and clerical work, and even I was talking about NARF with the coordinator, NARF allergy and NAC allergy, you got AQR. We have so many other assignments to be done. So we don't have time to prepare and go to the library and look at the textbook. What we do is we just go to the internet, we download some PPTs, we just take it like a noodles, and we go to the class, we vomit it, my class is over, right? And finally, in the answer paper, we expect students to write so much. So the balance is, equation is not balanced there. So we also have meaningful products, so meaningful products, and we have very good learning communities. The role of teacher and student is changed nowadays. As I told you, we have moved from a teacher to a facilitator, a guide, and we need to build standards. I think that is what our outcome based education is all about, right? OBE and developing, designing new curriculum and so on, so forth. So this is an inquiry model for both teachers and student, and here you see a teacher has got a dialogue. Dialogue is that you give a statement, we give a statement, so some problem, and either we should show them the materials, where it is available, as I told you about the tools or about the resource materials, where it is available, so that we should show them. Then finally, we should make them to do some activities, and if they are not able to do activities, we should be a part of them, and we should tell them this is how we have to do actually. We should minimize the gap between the student and the teacher. So this is the inquiry model for teachers, and likewise we have got the inquiry model for students. Like we have a student group, again he'll have his own problem, research problem, and he'll collect the same materials to solve the problem, and finally he'll prove through some activities. These are the two different models for the inquiry based learning, for which projects the teachers and the students. So next I would like to tell you about the 5ES model. 5ES model. So you can see 5, one is engage, explore, explain, elaborate, evaluate. So engage is, for a regular teacher, engaging a class is not a big task. But if teacher goes on a leave and if they take alteration from us and please engage the class, so that becomes a very tough part for the teacher who is going on a alteration. So engage, explore, explain, elaborate and evaluate, which I will try to sensitize with few examples on this 5E models. The first is engage. So first is that we have to capture the student's attention. We all say that only students can listen to the class for 15 minutes, but we talk for 50 minutes and rest of the 35 minutes is going as a waste. And how to complete the syllabus. If somebody comes in around, your class is so noisy, you are not taking control over the students, etc., etc. So first thing what we need is we have to capture the students' attention, and next is we have to stimulate the students' thinking, and next we have to help students access the prior knowledge. So we have to engage the students by capturing his attention, stimulating his thinking process, and you have to access prior knowledge for the student community. And the example, what are the possible activities for engages? You can go for demonstration, you can show some movie clip or webcam or any images, or you can read from current media, from today's newspaper, because we get news items from A to Z, not only science and technology, you also get about commerce. Even commerce people can talk about why the petrol price is going down. What if happens if come to rupees 20? What will be the economic status of India when petrol price is rupees 20 or it goes beyond 100 rupees? So likewise, you can just ask the students to debate on the current topics, or even commerce people can talk about the non-performing assets. They can talk about the NPA, and we have got a lot of so many scams, and those things can be brought to the student because they'll feel really interested to discuss actually. Okay, if you talk about the subject, they never show interest, and you can also read some piece of literature or some text and so on. So these are some of the possible activities. You can add many actually, and for we teachers, before we inculcate this inquiry based learning, we need to have certain questions in our paper actually. We have to run so many questions in our mind. We cannot just go to the class, stand blank and say, oh, I'm going to do some activities today. We have to do some homework, because before students, without any kind of preparations, we cannot stand. So next is explore. So this explore is, as I told in the beginning slide, that we just to explore their possibilities like thinking, planning, investigating, research and organize. Because why I am emphasizing more on the research is that I had to attend a meeting last Monday in Cochin. You might have heard about National Testing Agency, NTA. Like all the exams, previously it was conducted by UGC and lately by CBSE. Now we have an agency called National Testing Agency. It comes under Ministry of Human Resource and Development, MHRD. So in NTA, like now they have taken the charge of conducting the entrance exam through online. Most of you know that from 17th to 22nd of December, you have the UGC NET exam, where the exam is online. It's spread from Monday to Saturday, and I had attended in Kerala. I'm one of the observers for that NTA, and that director was telling that the objective of this online test is that hereafter or in future, all the exams will be conducted only through online, and exception is NEET. Okay, NEET is offline. There was a proposal to conduct NEET exam through online, but now because of certain, like MCA is not cooperating with the other agencies, therefore it is still in offline. And whereas the other all exams, everything is online, and for that they said that hereafter the questions will be only on research based. Okay, research based. So for which we need our subject or our content should give space for the students to think. Okay, do research. Okay, only when they do research, they will be able to attend the exams through online. That is what one of the statement which was emphasized more by the IAS officer of that, who is the director of that National Testing Agency. Okay. And these are some of the possible activities for exploring. So we have to read authentic resources to collect information, and we have to collect information to answer open-ended questions. Okay, this is open-ended questions. I will elaborate you later what is open-ended questions. Solve a problem and create a graphic organizer, or finally investigate. Okay, we should allow either, if students are in the beginning stage, we can give some question and we can ask them to analyze. Suppose if their caliber is somewhat average, we can just give them the question and work on it. Suppose if the student is the topper of the class, we can ask him to take a question by himself and do the investigation and do the presentations. That's why we have to channelize engage the 3 groups of students in a class. Okay, so these are some of the possible activities for the exploring students' capability. And next is explain. We all know explain. Most of our question paper will have explain, right? Right? Most of our question paper will have explain, and now our institute is emphasizing use Bloom's taxonomy. Right? We use Bloom's taxonomy. Right? We have that 6 pyramids for Bloom's taxonomy, and you see, if you look at the question paper, only the first term will be changed. If you really do if you do a review, or if you do an inspection on the question paper, you can able to see only elaborate, elucidate, illustrate, but remaining things will be same only. We say that I am following Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, we are saying that we are following Bloom's taxonomy, but when you see the starting word and the ending word, there will not be any connections at all. And when we are talking about Bloom's taxonomy, I hope you would have learned about Bloom's taxonomy. And when we say Bloom's taxonomy, some teachers argue that, see, you are taking Bloom's taxonomy, you are inculcating words from the Bloom's taxonomy. Are you training your students? Does the students know about Bloom's taxonomy? Okay. As a teacher, we need to, on the first day of the class, we need to teach them what is course objective, what is course outcome and the syllabus. And we should say that at the end of the semester, you will be learning all, these are the outcomes which probably you will have to be trained. And they can question us that these are the outcomes which are not being dealt properly, right. And so Bloom's, teachers who use this Bloom's taxonomy, we should be very, very careful, because some of the institute gives that, for example, Anna University gives a question paper very clearly, lower order, middle order, high order thinking. They have a classification, Anna University. We are supposed to stick to the pattern, lower order, middle order, high order. High order only 15% of marks, only 15%. And they give more importance to lower order, close to 55%. And middle order is some 25%. And for that they given vocabularies. Those are the vocabularies we need to use. Most of us, we say, like, we use word like differentiate, compare, difference. But when you look at the questions, the sentence formations will not be complete at all. Okay. So when you are explaining, we have to analyze the explorations, the kind of exploration by the students, and we have to clarify their understanding, and also we have to modify. We have to modify the understanding pattern also, because at one stroke of explanation, we cannot expect the students to understand, all the students to understand. Okay. So we need to change the level of explanation. We have to go to the higher end as well as the lower end. Okay. So for that we can follow all these strategies like analysis of exploration, clarify understanding, modify understanding. Okay. So these are some of the activities which we can follow, like we allow the students to analyze and explain, support ideas with evidence, because always students expect with evidence. So I will tell you, since I am talking about evidence here, so I happen to be a judge for this Children's Science Congress, like I think in 2002, children from Villapuram district, they were doing an awareness for breastfeeding. Okay, they want to create awareness among the village women about the mother's breastfeeding. Still we have that breastfeeding week, still we have that, because the awareness is not reached to the height. And the students, they have a lot of papers, but still they have recorded the voice of the women. They were showing that cassette as evidence. Okay, people would appreciate or accept when we produce evidence. For any issues, we need to have some evidence. Okay, even in your, I think in your biometric system, if you are late by 1 minute, I think I don't know, I think you have to lose your 1 hour permission guess. Then you can say that Mr. System has something collapsed. So what is evidence? My colleague was here. Or suppose on a day we say that you are not there, I was there, I conduct an exam, you show the proof that, like, so that is so much demand is there, and we need to have some structured questioning actually, questioning pattern. That's why we said that Bloom's taxonomy, but where teachers are not so much to this area, and we need to read and discuss, and thinking skill activities has to be given to the students. These are some of the possible activities to talk about the explain. And the next is elaborate. Okay, elaborate. Okay, elaborate is nothing but like, I would say that expand your imagination. Okay, we all gossip, right? Right, we all love to gossip, right? She is like that, he is like that, he is wearing like this, like he's like so much gossiping, right? So I would urge all of you to gossip your subject. Okay, gossip your subject. When you gossip your subject, you get so much of information come to us. When you really gossip about the subject, so much of information comes to us. Like you can build so much, a good network actually through gossiping of informations. Okay, whereas gossiping on the other side becomes totally useless actually. Okay, like you don't accept, like just by mere discussion, you can build up a lot of new concepts. Those who really want to shine with this research. Okay, so we should provide opportunity to expand. Then you have to give solid understanding of the concept. Then we have to apply to the real world situation and problem solving. So these are some of the strategies for elaborate. And these are possible activities for elaborate is problem solving, decision making, experimental inquiry, thinking skill activities. You should not confine yourself that it's only for science. Even this inquiry based learning is also for arts and commerce too. People have practiced, people have done research, and they have seen a lot of improvement among the student community. So these are the possible activities for elaborate process. Okay. So evaluate is that, for example, like you can give peer group evaluation. Rather than we evaluate the students' performance, you can ask the fellow students to evaluate. Okay, you can ask them, like for example, like if you are doing a poster presentation, you can ask the students to go on mark star, and finally you tell which star gets more, which poster gets more star. So that star has irrespective of your relationship, and you should tell them that there should not be any bias. You should not support your friends. You tell them, give them 1 or 2 opportunities. In the third attempt, you can see that the students really, if they are very close or not, if they are enemy also, but still if the poster is good, they would give a star actually. Okay, so peer group evaluation, and you need to tell students how you will be evaluated actually, how you will be evaluated, how the marks will be given to you. Okay, so all those things we call it as rubrics. Okay, we have to frame some rubrics for our subject. We have to circulate the students that this is how you will be expected, you will be evaluated. So therefore, they will get a better understanding for inquiry based model. Okay, so develop a scoring guide that targets what the students must know and what they need to do. So we should give a clear cut instruction. Say for example, if I give 15 minutes of time, and within this 15 minutes time, what you need to do and what you not do, and finally what should be the achievement. And give scoring guide to students at the beginning of the project, evaluate throughout the lesson. Okay, some of them would have even you can compare, they would have written well of the first internal, second internal, third internal, but in the end semester you could see their performance is very poor. Because the first internal syllabus was less, so you would have seen they score very good marks, but in the end semester you can see they score just average marks. Okay, so the evaluation will be throughout the lesson. That is why we have this internal assessment pattern and final end semester exam. So these are some of the possible activities. So we should ask students, we should get feedback from the students. Say, this is my scoring pattern, you have any suggestions or you have any comments? Because they are the receiver, and by small change in marks, they know what will be impact of the student community. So therefore, it is best to circulate the scoring pattern to the student, and you should ask what new things can be added, what things can be deleted. For example, when we conduct a conference, we do have some poster presentation or oral presentation, and we give a scoring sheet to the judge. We have some 5 parameters, we say 5 into 10, 50 marks. And how many of us really circulate this to the student community, say that, oh, is this the way to judge you? No, not at all. So it's best that you give to the student community and get the comments from them, and finally if you incorporate the changes and make a full formed scoring sheet, I think definitely help the students. Okay, so allow students to evaluate self and others in group. Self evaluation. Okay, self evaluation and others in group. Okay, so these are the 5 ESE patterns, and these are the 3 modes of IBL. You can clearly understand structured, guided and open. Okay, so what is structured is that always students ask notes, right? Students ask note, which textbook, you give me the notes, I will take printout, I will take a Xerox. Even PG students, sir, whether you teach or not, please give us PPT. So that is the situation of PG students, and we cannot imagine from the undergrad students. So this is what we practice now, like where lectures provide an issue or problem, an outline for addressing it. So this we call structured questionnaire. Next is the guided questionnaires, where lecturers provide questions to stimulate inquiry, but students are self-directed in terms of exploring these questions. So we will ask them to go to the Google, get it down, or go to the library, get the informations. Whereas open is that we ask the students to formulate the questions by themselves and work on it. So that is as a facilitator, at the end of the day, we need to have students of open mind, where they can formulate questions by themselves and where they can solve. I will just tell you, I was asking a very simple question to one of the PG students yesterday, and in return she asked me like, so what is the answer? I told, you have a mobile with you, you please check the answer. Okay, right? They just backfire, like very simple question, then what is the answer? Like I told, you just check your mobile, you will get the answer. So then they will have the interest to check for the answers. If every time if we spoon feed the answers, they will never go to the level of searching. Okay, so these are some of 3 modes of IBL, that is structured, guided and open-ended questions. Okay, you have a research paper, you can just Google it on this inquiry based learning. You have very good research paper, you got various models people have worked out, and you can do a research also, even for PhD you can do on this, the inquiry based learning in Indian system, or even for your undergraduate students you can give this as a project. Okay, so this cartoon tells us like again, what is the inquiry learning process and distributed expertise. You can see always we will have a context. Okay. So, context, that is why I have a whiteboard here. I may call one of you to write the context. So, at the end of the session, okay, we need to write the context. Then we have to find the research problem. So, everybody has got a problem. Right? Everybody has got a problem, and some of us we analyze the problem to get solution. Some of us we do not analyze, and we just keep stock of it. And we have to create working theories, and you have to go for critical evaluation. You will get plus or minus. Okay, you will get a critical evaluation, you will get a positive or negative. Then suppose if the negativity is more, we have to go for, we have to go deep search. Okay, deep search. Then develop deepening problems, create a new theory, then the cycle is continuing actually. So these are some of the distributed expertise of inquiry learning process, starting from the context, then problem. The problem is nothing but your what do you say, research gap or the statement of problem. Then you have to work on that, and you have to evaluate what is the outcome. You have to evaluate on that, whether you get a positive or negative. If more positivity is there, look for more informations. Then discuss with the expertise. Okay, it's nothing wrong to discuss with the colleagues actually. Most of us we have a cabin type. We don't talk with the neighbors. So definitely, even if you don't talk to your same commerce faculty, you can talk to the other faculties. You can talk to the maths faculties, because being in the same department, we will have some ups and downs. So we will not have the freedom of language to speak, but with the other faculties, you can speak very freely, because you are the expertise of a subject and they are the expertise of a subject. You can build some new concepts. Okay, and here I will just tell you, like yesterday we were debating about that. About impact factor, right? Publications. All of us are with publications. Now, when NIRF comes, we say published, whether how many papers are published in Scopus Index, and with impact factor, Thomson Reuters, whether it's a paid journal or non-paid journal. And most of us, what we do, we'll form a team, we'll pay, you share the money, we'll all get paper. You are from this department, you are from this department. So my department will add one paper, your department will add one paper. But for the institution, you'll get only one paper finally. Okay. And in that we were discussing about yesterday there was an article in Hindu about the in publishing with impact. Okay, in the Open Age 9th page you have this article, publishing with impact. Then one of my maths friend always used to debate me about the research. He is just going to complete his PhD, but whenever we travel together we used to debate. I just called him, there is an article on this, it is a nice feed for you where you can express all your concerns. Then we sat about for 2 hours. And finally, we could able to make only 350 words, solidly from 9:15 to 11:15, and we sent to Hindu for this letters to editor. But today, unfortunately, did not come. It may come, I guess. That's a small attempt we made. Like, why publishing a paper with impact factor? Why we always look to international journal? Why we are not giving importance to the national journals? Though we have so many national journals, but we always look for the international journals. We say the international journal easily accept, but Indian journals they reject. There are so many parameters which the authorities need to look into it. Okay, so this is a scaffolding inquiry throughout a material. I mean throughout a degree, right? Scaffolding is nothing but the materials. Okay, scaffolding, I can say it's a material. In tissue engineering, we use the word scaffolding. Like when you have got fire accident or any damage in skin, we go for this scaffolding technique. But the same scaffolding term can also be used in this inquiry based learning. And as you see this slide, you can just see here like, okay, focus of learning. You can see here discovery oriented and information oriented. You can see focus of learning is more here, structure is very less. And here you can see that guided and finally get open. So this I am just classifying for a BSc degree where you have first year, second year and third year. Okay, this is your first year where you have the focus of learning is more, that is based on the information oriented, and next you have the second year, you have the partially equal discovery and information, and finally you have the third year where you need to have open-ended actually. That is the type of education we need to feed to our students community. Okay. So now coming to the learning in the classroom. Okay, I told you that students don't get more knowledge from the classroom, but they do get more knowledge from the campus. If you see them, when you ask them to talk, they will talk with their the same sex or with the opposite sex. We do not know really what they do actually. Okay? So that is what the expert says, that students get more knowledge from the campus than from the classroom. So as a teacher, it is a great challenge for us to rule the classroom for 50 minutes or 1 hour. Okay. So in that case, what you can do is you can go with cooperative learning. Okay. Second thing, you go with teamwork. Third, you can use excitement. Fourth, you can go for presenting. And fifth, you can go for movement. Okay, movement. Cooperative learning. So cooperative learning, like if you permit me, we can classify this whole group bunch of 250 to some 25 groups and make 10 people to sit together and debate for a while, and one of the team members should be a leader and should come and present. So that becomes the cooperative learning. Okay, you can just join with any group. Max people can join with chemistry or physics or computer science, like not merely from the same department. And teamwork is that a small group work, okay, for a concept. Excitement. You would have seen some students with excitement. They will blabber something, but are we ready to accept that? We say, sit down, keep quiet, it's wrong. Immediately we say, your answer is wrong. So immediately the excitement on these students' mind goes down. Then presenting is something what you make in a small posters and you present it for the class, where you allow the students to listen to it or comment on that. And movement is that you can move from one poster to another poster, you can go through what others have done. In today's world, they are same roommates, but they do not know what her roommate is doing actually. Okay, same roommates, sharing the same room, she is with her mobile, she is with her mobile. They don't talk to each other and they do not know what the others are doing actually in the same room. You just imagine the same corridor. Definitely not possible. This is what the scenario in the hostel. If you ask somebody like your roommate, yeah, she was my roommate, even she did not know whether she came to the college or not, whether she is having sickness or not. So that is the condition, like movement is going around and looking at others, informations, commenting and learning new things. Okay, this is some example, like the first one you would say that the cooperative learning, and this is the teamwork, and this is what the excitement, and this is what the movement learning. Okay, movement learning. So you move from posters to posters. Okay, this was the example for movement learning, and this is for excitement, and this is for teamwork, and this is for cooperative learning. Okay. So we have been trained in this way when we went to this ISER Pune for this research based pedagogical tools. Okay. And even in Delhi when I attended level 2, same thing, and even we had level 3 through webinar actually. On October 2nd we had the webinar, and the things are going like that. And we have trainers from UK universities, because this has been widely practiced in UK universities, and they try to, Indian government has got a huge project to inculcate these teaching practices in India also. Okay. And next I would tell you what are the 5 kinds of questions need to be asked in inquiry based learning. You all need a break? Need a break? No, we'll continue. We need a break. Break means only inside the hall, not going outside, because it's very difficult to assemble you back. So that's what I got from the organizers. Sorry, ma'am? Afterwards, okay. We'll complete the session and you can break forever, okay. Break for the day, okay, right? Right? Okay. So I sense that I'm sensitizing you and not many of you are sleeping, because from here you can see like how many of them are using mobile, how many of them are talking to the neighbors. As a teacher, it's very clear cut. So I'm not here to assess your your class performance. Okay, just to sensitize you on the inquiry based learning. What I've trained, I just want to share with you. Okay, right? Okay, so this is inference questions. You know what is inference, right? Okay, the first question is inference question. The second is interpretation question. Third is transfer question. Fourth is questions about a hypothesis. Fifth one is reflective questions. Okay, these are the 5 different kinds of questions we need to be asked in inquiry based learning. Okay, inference, you know what is inference, right? Right? So you should not think only science people do this inference, even the commerce, even the maths, everybody does this inference. You know what is interpretation? Interpret. Sometimes you ask a question, interpret the equation. Transfer questions. Transfer, you should not mean that in quiz pass the question. No. In quiz we know pass in the quiz. That is not the transfer question. And we have the questions about hypothesis. You know what is hypothesis, right? Hypothesis. Hypothesis can be positive or negative. It can be solved, it cannot be solved. And reflective questions. Asking the question again and again. okay, among ourselves, also with our close friends. Okay, these are the 5 questions. So coming to the inference questions, if you look at the cartoon, you can find, you can gossip something, right? Okay, right? So ask the students to go beyond the immediately available informations. What next? Okay, what next? What can be? How this can be extended? Okay, we also ask students to look for clues, examine them, and decide if they have a role in the question, whether they can. That's why we give choice. In the examination, we give choice, either or choice, right? We give choice for the students. If they really know the answer, they write, otherwise they will skip the questions, okay? An example is, okay, so I'll just show you a photograph here, what you can inference on this, right? You'll say somebody is sitting very sad, expecting for some results, okay, right? So you can give you a different opinion, right? You can say it's the first thing is an old man, keeping his fingers on the crossed on the face, he's thinking very seriously, watching something or some stock market results, something like that, okay. So that is what the inference questions. Next is interpretation question. You know what is interpretation, all of you. So ask the students to predict what consequences may occur as a result of a given scenario. So we have to project them some current scenario and ask them to comment, okay, interpret. Okay, it could be a positive or it could be a negative also. So we have to ask the students to combine the past knowledge of situations and new factual informations, the old and the new, mixing both old and new, right? So this is what the example you can see, like here you have the total 250 students, 2,500 students, or finally we can also give the results of our subject at the end of the semester, like how many of them got 60%, how many of them got 70 or 80, and by this pie chart you can easily tell what it is. And you can also look at this particular pathway, you can interpret so many things. If you go to the hospital, right, if you submit a sample, I think this will follow our pattern, okay. Request form is there to submit, you have to give a patient sample, transfer to lab, reception, quality control, analysis, interpretation, reporting. Okay, I'll tell you one simple example. Yesterday evening around 5 o'clock, we were just planning to work with autism children. Okay, one of my students wants to work with autism children. So therefore, I told my students that we'll go in person and get the permission to collect the samples. Then as in the evening, like, I had a curiosity, why don't we talk over phone? Then I tried some 3 centers. Finally, one center person attended my call and he asked me, oh, is it, what do you say, is it right? Is there any literature? Did you go through the literature? What is the outcome of the literature? Really, I was stunned actually, because we always go with superficial informations. We don't go for deep learning. Then I was showing teeth to my students. See, this is how they approach us. I somehow managed the situation actually. They asked me, sir, you are saying that, do you have a difference between autism children and normal children? What is the proof? Who has done that work? In which country? What is the result? Why are you doing like this? Why do you do this work? Do you have a proof? He was asking me so many series of questions. I was just literally, since we were not in personal contact, I was just showing my teeth to my student who was sitting beside me. He told, we have all the information, sir. We'll come to you in person. And I disconnected my call. And that person told, he's a doctor. He's a I think, psychiatrist doctor. He told that you cannot call me after 5 o'clock. If anything, you call me before 5 o'clock, especially during lunch hours. Okay, that's the type of experience we get actually when we venture into any new situations. Okay, this is an example for the interpretations. And next is transfer questions. I would say that key is the model for answer. When you have question is the key for answer. Question is the key for answer. When you don't have questions, we will not get answer at all. Without questions, we will never get answer. Any questions, maybe your children of 3 years old would ask a lot of questions, or a PhD student would ask a lot of questions. Okay, question is the key for answer. And this, by just looking at the term transfer, we should not transfer the question, pass the question to others just like this. But, okay, so we have to ask the students to apply the existing knowledge to the new situations. Okay, how you can extend. How you can extend. That's what we say, like, for research students, we get new problems from the existing research. How the gap is focused as a new problem. Okay. So we have to ask the student to expand their thinking. Whether the thinking capacity can be proved or not, that is secondary. But foremost thing is that we should make the students to think. Okay, that's what we say, it is transfer questions. And next is questions about hypothesis. Okay, so we have to ask the students to predict the outcome and carry out tests to discover new knowledge. Prediction. Okay, prediction. We always predict. Okay, but our prediction may go right or wrong, that is secondary. And this type of questions are all seen in both science and arts and commerce, mathematics, etc. And next you can see the example, this everybody knows, right? I think everybody knows about this. Formulate a hypothesis, collect data, analyze data to test the hypothesis, draw conclusions. Whether you will get a positive result or negative result. If you get negative result, we need to repeat the experiment. We need to repeat the work. That's why they say that whether you get a positive result or negative result, we have to present, we have to publish it. Only then the outside world will know that the outcome of that work. Okay, this is a typical example for hypothesis. And next is the reflective questions. Okay, so ask students to look again at the beliefs they have and the evidence that supports them. Okay, this is what the reflective question. We have to ask the students to look again at the belief they have and the evidence that support them, and we have to lead the students back into the investigation process. Okay, so this is an example. As I told you, what always talk about the past, what I have collected about my life or about work. Okay, so suppose if you ask a teacher in the working in self-financing colleges, what is a bank account? Our bank account will be empty, but the account what we have is the student community. Student has to speak as an account for us. They have to validate our teaching process. Okay, and next so what is present. Okay, so what do those artifacts show about what I've learned? That is my current reflections. And now what is the future? Okay, now what is the future? So what we need to do is we have to jump from the traditional way of learning to the inquiry based learning. And you can also use reflective questions as a constructive way of delivering feedbacks. Okay, somebody thinks and somebody knows the answer. Okay, somebody has a question, somebody has an answer. Only when you disclose, the others would get an opportunity to give an answer for the question. That comes under the reflective questions. Okay, so that's the 5 types of questions we need to follow in inquiry based learning. And where do we begin this IBL? Okay, right, as I told you, like we have to retune our lesson plan, our teaching plan, and we have to listen to the questions what we have asked, and we have to ask them to start with small projects. Okay, small projects. Simply you can ask one student from our science department, go and approach the arts staff. They will have a real hesitant actually. They don't have that the presence of mind to go and approach them, because how can I go and ask, because I am not known to them, she is not known to me, she may something, what we call is communication gap. You would have heard this story, all of you, like a student comes to meet a professor in a college or university. As the professor is inside the room and the room is locked, and the student wait, and the teacher also wait for the student. That actually the door is closed, but the teacher is waiting for the student, but the student is sitting in the lounge waiting for the teacher to open the door. And the student decides that teacher is busy with some assignment, therefore the room is locked. And the teacher thinks that the student has not come, that's why like that. So that's a communication gap actually. That's why it's better to knock. Okay, we have to knock others. We should ask whether if they are free, definitely they will entertain us. Right? So that's what we are, our present student teacher life is like that. We always have hesitant. Okay? So start with small projects and slowly expand it. And remember, students are not used to thinking, may not know how to approach problems. We have to be the guide. As I told you, we should be the facilitator. So when you go for a planning and inquiry lesson, okay, think of a topic or standard you might teach in our area, any subject. Maybe your any maths or your differential equation or your integral calculus, any subject. Okay, so write down several questions. We have to have our own questions. Okay, whether then we have to cross check whether students are also aligning with us. Sometimes he may give a different question actually, which we may not have thought actually. Okay, so write down several questions we might ask, motivate our students, then label the type of question it is explained. Some of the questions we may find time to explain, but some of the questions may not find time to explain. We can ask the students to deliberate among themselves. Okay, Okay. So, I just want to show you this, the curriculum wheel on the topic of shoes. Okay. Shoes, we all know shoes, right? About shoes, right? You see, shoes has got science, shoes has got literature, shoes has got social studies, shoes has got economics, shoes has got the art. It is covering all the subject. Shoes, we say simple, shoes, okay, which carry our legs, okay, which protect our legs. You can see, why are sneakers good for sports? We got so many Adidas, so many sports shoes are there. Why do you say only sneakers are good for sports? That's a question. Respect to science. Literature, what stories involve shoes? Okay, people write different stories on different objects. Even you can also take a movie on shoes and find what is the role of shoes. Then social studies, do all cultures wear shoes? Why shoes are not permitted inside certain room? They say, no, please put your footwear outside. No, we see in most of the places, leave your footwear outside. Why we are not supposed to take our shoes into the temple or, so many things are there, okay. Do all cultures wear shoes? Why do they cost so much? Okay, why your Cooper cost so much? Why your this shoes cost so much? Your Bata cost so much? Why it is 999? Okay, 999 or 999? Why it is that it is not in the full 1000? Or then can we make shoes ourselves? Okay, can we make shoes ourselves? If you want to know this, you can ask our students to go to the, example in town hall, you got so many, shops. If they have not masters in that shoe, but they know a lot of theories about shoes. We'll get a lot of practical tips. Okay. So for this, what source of information is? You can go to the internet, you can go to the museum, we can go to the radio station, TV station, community leaders, because we say do all culture wear shoes, community leaders, okay, library, shoe store, manufacturers and podiatrist. This podiatrist is the one, he is a doctor who deals with the legs, podiatrician, especially with the diabetic foot ulcers. He is a podiatrician. Even we have a magazine called Podiatry Today, which is published from, in New York. Okay. And since I am talking about the culture, I think many of you would have heard about this instance in Kerala last year. In one of the community leaders did not encourage the children to go for vaccination. You would have read from one of this district in Kerala. They did not allow the children to go for vaccination. Simple basic vaccination, for which they lost around 15 precious lives. And finally, with the interference of the doctors, they were able to sensitize the community leaders. Then when the community leaders told the community people to accept the vaccination, then they went to the hospital for vaccination. This took place in Kozhikode last year. Okay. So this is a curriculum. We talk about curriculum, right? Curriculum, right? We say OB, outcome based education, curriculum design, we got CDC and so on, right? Okay. So this is about the shoes. We can imagine for any topic also. You can think about your spectacles, you can think about your pen, you can think about your slippers, you can think about your nail polish, your cosmetics, even your ID card tag, etc., etc. Okay, this is the whole process of inquiry process. Okay, so you can just try to inculcate this, put this in practice in your regular class, like, pose real questions. For that question, we have to find resources, interpret information and report findings. These are the 4 important stages of inquiry process. Okay, real questions, find resources, interpret information, then report findings. So for which we have all these things under questions. What do I want to know about this topic? Students sometimes will ask, I am not interested in this topic. Why do you insist me to learn? I'll leave this question a choice. You might have heard this response from the students. I'll just write for, let me fail in the first exam, then I'll write as an arrear. Why do you, pressurize me? What bothers you? So students simply get 0. They'll say, I'll skip my internals, I'll write 2-3 end semester, then I'll pass through the end semester exam. I don't want your internal marks. This is what the feedback, what we get from the students actually. And resources, what kind of resources might help us? Okay, the materials, study materials. Okay, interpret information is how this information is relevant to my question. Okay, as this answer, like sometimes your MCQ, right? MCQ. We always give all the 4 choices, more similar actually. We give some students to challenge that which answer might be the appropriate one. That's what the MCQ type. And finally, it is report findings. Okay, so report finding will help us to present our findings. Okay. And this about the teachers. Now we'll move on to the students. Okay, that's what Okay, Parashakti madam has got shocked, right? Okay, right, inquiry based learning. We are moving from the next compartment, from the compartment of teacher to the students. What students would reflect, okay, what students would respond to this inquiry based learning, okay. See, say, ma'am, I have written this answer good, why did you reduce my mark? I have written nicely, you have given on me less mark, whereas for the other student, you gave more marks. My presentation is good, you gave me poor marks. Okay, they'll ask, the stuff that I did is really good, but we don't have the tendency to accept. Then we'll say, hey, this is very small work, no? This everybody can do, even a 4th standard can do this poster. What is the novelty from a college student? So we ask all such questions and we discourage them totally. And when students work in groups or with partners, they make big things. Some of these I have seen visibly with my own students. After having a partner, they have cleared their arrears very quickly actually. I can see a lot of changes. When they were in 2nd year, they were accumulating more arrears, but when they come to the 4th year, they have cleared all their arrears. I have some few students, now they are doing PhD in another country. So that's like having a partner of this good, stimulation is good, but going the other side, it's not good for the society. And finally, it should be like a fun learning process. Okay. So what students do during inquiry learning based process, they view themselves as learners in the process of learning. Okay. They should own the responsibility of learning. Okay. Next, they look forward to learn many new things. They demonstrate a desire to learn more, and they seek to collaborate and work cooperatively with teachers and peer groups, and they are more confident in learning. They demonstrate a willingness to modify ideas, take calculated risk, and display appropriated skepticism. This calculated risk, I think in cricket commentary, Ravi Shastri used to say, calculated risk, well executed. You can see in commentary of Ravi Shastri, he used to very often, when a batsman hits the ball to the boundary, he will say it is calculated risk, well executed. You can see even now, he uses the same vocabulary. Okay. So this is what the students doing inquiry based learning. Okay. So students accept an invitation to learn. Suppose you ask them, I give 5 days time, you should come with a seminar presentation. They should accept our invitation actually. If they don't, if they resist, we should call them personally, tell them these are the benefit, this. You know what I do know, like suppose if somebody is getting low marks in internal, somewhere like very below the average, I'll ask them to do some clerical work actually, some entering marks, something. Then I'll tell them you got 19, but 20 marks is your pass mark. So I'm giving a grace 1 mark actually. So 20 is pass, 50%. So likewise, you can encourage the students actually. Okay, they learn some administrative work from us. At the same time, they learn the subject stuff also. Okay, they exhibit curiosity. So curiosity is very important actually. So we have to guide the students to get this curiosity, and they move around, they select, they use material they need actually. Okay, so just like our children at home, they don't select all the materials always, but they select materials as and when they require. The same situation with our students too. Okay, so they confer the classmates, teacher about observations and questions. Okay, so this is invitation. They try out some of their own ideas. Okay, since some of our teachers, what we do is sometimes their idea is good actually. Since we don't have the basic knowledge in that, we'll say, hey, this idea is not good actually. This is how we skip it actually. But as teacher, we need to try to learn something new from them actually. Okay. So students raise questions, they propose, explain, and they use observations. Okay. They ask questions verbally or through actions. We cannot expect all the students to put the questions in a proper format. They'll try to explain through actions. So we need to understand it very carefully. Okay, they use questions that lead them to activities, generating further questions or new ideas. They observe critically, okay, as opposed to casually looking or listening. Okay, some of the students, they say, even now you can see last bench students are always successful actually than the first bench students. Even some of my UG classmates, those who are sitting the last bench, they're all in a very good position actually. Those who are sitting the front bench, since still in the same platform. That's why even my HOD, she used to ask like, are you thinking something about your future when you are sitting the last test without listening to the class? Okay. And they observe very critically and casually. They value and apply questions, an important part of learning. Okay, students are very tricky actually. They'll be just showing their teeth to us, but when come to the terms of feedback, they'll just put us down actually. We'll trust them 100% that okay, they are very close to us, they'll give us good, nice feedback. But finally, when you see in online, you get a terrible response actually. You know, that was my experience yesterday actually. When they were closing their semester yesterday, then I checked in the online, it was a terrible feedback actually. Then finally I had to quit from that group, which is WhatsApp group actually. So I told them I'll join you next semester. Okay. So that's, we don't have that mind to accept actually. So we need to, first we have to make ourselves fit to attend to the present generation students. And they make connections to previous ideas, connecting ideas. Okay. And students plan and carry out learning activities. They design ways to try out their ideas, not always expecting to be told on what to do. If you tell them no, they don't listen actually. But if you ask them to do on their own, they'll do many things. Okay? That we understand only from our event organization, but not from the class organization. And they plan ways to verify, extend, confirm or discard ideas. Okay? Then they carry out activities by using materials, by observation, evaluation and recording informations. Okay? And they sort out information and decide what is important. Okay, they trim it. What is not required, they'll trim it out. What is required, they'll add it. Okay, they see detail, they detect sequence, events, they notice the change, and they detect the differences and similarities. Okay. So students communicate using a variety of methods, like including journals, drawings, reports, graphing, and so on. So many methods are there to express their ideas and work. And they listen, they speak, they write about learning activities with parents, teachers and peers. So what we need is we just need to observe it actually. We need to observe actually. Even in our workshop, they never conducted any test actually. They were just observing how many of them really ask questions, how many of them interact with their peers, are they showing their dullness, or they are basically active from the morning to the evening. That's how they observe, and they select people from 200 or 300 or 50 numbers. We think that finally they'll keep some test. No test is conducted actually. They just observe our participation, how we involve and how we interact with the peer groups. Do we have any ego with our teammates? We shed our egos. You get a lot of connections actually through that teamwork. And then they use the language of learning, apply the skills of processing information, and develop their own ground rules which are appropriate to discipline. Again, I'll tell you interacting with other discipline is always good for us. Now, I've started working with mathematical modeling actually. Microbiology has become bore for me, and since I've tagged with some mathematics faculty and we started working with mathematical modeling, which not many have not done it actually. Only a few computer people have done with modeling, and we have just started with modeling, and I told one of my students to work in model. Her friends have told her that hey, this you have to use a lot of equations. You get dy by dx, so many equations, and they made her frightened. Then we called her for several rounds of counseling and finally made her to accept that work. Because our job is to publish or perish. That is the challenge before us, right? Our management assesses our performance based on the publications. Otherwise, there's no space for you. We look for another person. That is what is happening in almost all the institutions because of this NARF ranking and other accreditation agencies. Teachers are very put to tremendous pressure. This teaching class has become just a tool. It's part and parcel. That's it. What extra have you done? So that is the question which is asked by the management actually. So students critique their learning practices. They use indicators to assess their own work, and they recognize and report their strength and weakness. Okay, we know how many of us really know our strength and weakness? Have you ever thought about strength and weakness, or have you ever accepted a weakness? Right? When our HOD assess for the increment, we have one parameter called write your strength and weakness. Okay, we have at the end of the the assessment form, we had this one question, your strength and weakness. Then we have to write boldly that I am short tempered. Some will write, okay, I am short tempered. Then strength I'll write I can work with any member. Then the HOD must be observing us for quite a long period of time. They'll have to accept, yeah, whatever your written is right. Even in interviews, they'll ask you, tell about your strength and weakness. Even for students, they ask, even for us, when you go to a new job, definitely they ask, what is your strength and what is your weakness? Have you ever tried any methodology to overcome your weakness? Okay. So students recognize, report their strength and weakness, and they reflect on the learning with their teacher and their peers. Okay, it's only reflective questions. Okay, right? So this is what the importance of N.K.P.Based learning. So something which they take with them throughout life. You know, learning is a lifelong process. Learning is a lifelong process. You know, in our mapping, okay, you say whether your curriculum is a life learning process. We have to map actually. We have some 12 POs, and you know, PO, program education objectives, program outcome, then so PSO, so many things. We will see that one of the thing is that lifelong process. Whether your microbiology subject has got a life learning process. I have to give whether it is 1, 2 or 3. If you put 0, then I should say why this not lifelong process. Then there was a debate like is maths is only the subject for engineering. No, we cannot say only the maths is not for engineering. There is a debate actually for NBA. Okay, right? So something they can take with them throughout life, beyond parental help and security, beyond a textbook, beyond the time of a master teacher, beyond the college to a time when they will often be alone in their learning. Okay? So learning comes along with us life actually. Every day is a learning process for all us. Till our last, till our death, we have the learning process actually. You know, I was reading one article just today morning, like, they were talking about the Indian air pollution actually. Pollution effect, we breathe around 25,000 times. Actually, I was thought of asking you this question in the beginning itself, that whether I increase your breath rate or will decrease your breath rate. Okay, right? So how many times you breathe? Okay, they say that statistics says that 25,000 times in a day. We breathe for 25,000 and we take 10,000 liters of air. The question is that, is our oxygen is safe? Is our air is non-polluted? No. 98% of the air is highly polluted. So we fall to various sickness. Okay? Right? This is one of the importance of inquiry-based learning. And these are the challenges. Please don't worry, I have come to the end of my presentation. So these are the challenges. Whenever we talk about challenges, that would be the end actually. So we have been talking about inquiry-based learning for quite around 60 or 70 minutes. So definitely we will have a drawbacks too. What are the challenges? On the first day, you cannot tell students, oh, you practice inquiry-based learning. You cannot tell your fellow teachers, no, they were asking us in that ISER Pune, will you go and introduce this methodology in your department? What are the challenges? First of all, they will never accept. Hey, this fellow does not have any job. He went on a free training. He is coming and asking you to do something new. Because whenever we ask our teachers to do something new, method of teaching, definitely not. Even in our case now, they said that your teaching plan will be critically analyzed by expert. They said that it should be done with mapping. 4 team members have been assigned from outside. You have to present before them, then only you should start your class. That is the assignment which is given to us actually. Okay, we got a circular. You should prepare a teaching plan with mapping matrices and see that you should present before the expert, and the expert will comment on your teaching plan. If they approve only, you should start teaching the class. Okay, that is the challenge. We say a lot of assignment, but still we have to do all those things. Okay, so we will say no time, right? All of us will say simply no time. Okay, yeah, limited time, material shortage. Okay, that's why one of the reasons why I skipped my activities, because there are more numbers actually. If it would have been 100, I would have done this activity. Classroom management, 16 a class, is that difficult? Then lack of enough scientific knowledge, we are not thorough with the subject. Then differentiation and instructions. So we will say 50 minutes class, my instruction goes with half an hour, next 20 minutes what I can do. That's how we run the class. Okay, so this finally just for your refreshment. This is a cycle of inquiry process. As I told you, students takes the responsibility of learning. Okay, students take the responsibility of learning. They engage a topic and they build the basic knowledge. Then they develop a question. They anticipate possible answers and determine relevant information. They identify resource and gather information. They assess the information. They weigh the evidence and synthesize the understanding. Synthesize, it comes one of the Bloom's taxonomy, Bloom's. Then communicate new understanding, evaluate. Okay, I think the end of our Bloom's taxonomy. Evaluate, create. Okay, then again the cycle goes on. Okay, so this is a typical model of the inquiry process, which we all, if you are interested really, you can take this in account. Okay, so I told you finally you should write this KWL chart. Okay, what did you know out of this session? Really did I sensitize you through this inquiry based learning, or what I want to know or what I have learned? Okay, so can I have your response through raising your hands? Not because I cannot check all your notebook. As a teacher you can say submit today, I will check it and give it to you tomorrow or after a week. Okay, I hope everybody would learn something out of this session and what I want to know and what I have learned. Okay, right? Okay. See, this is an important, once you have learned how to ask questions, which is relevant and appropriate and substantial questions, you have learned how to learn. Okay, it's a very catchy statement actually. You have learned how to learn, and no one can keep you from learning. Okay, no one keep you from learning whatever you want or need to know. Nobody can stop your learning process. Nobody can block your success. Maybe your HOD may not permit you to attend the seminar or workshop. That doesn't mean that your knowledge is not going to sink. Okay, right? This is again Postman Weingartner. He has told that this about the discipline of learning. That's why we say, no, learn to earn and earn to learn. We say learn to earn, then earn to learn. Okay. I think this matches for all of our teachers. Okay. Whatever your circumstances, you need to find time to be in your element. Then to do what gives you energy rather than what takes it from you. Okay. This all teachers should, we have to reflect upon this statement actually. Whenever you are, when you have gone down, I really think we should recap all this statement. Okay, because when you fall, nobody is there to lift you up. We have to fall and we have to lift. That is what the current society is all about. Okay, we are not living in the past life. The present life, present generation is that we have to fall and we have to stand by ourselves. You could see people giving this dialogue in a family also. Nobody is there to lift us. We have to fall, we have to get up. Okay, so please don't mind about the circumstances, whatever the situations may be. Stimulate ourselves. Stimulate. Okay, encourage ourselves, self-encouragement. So we need to find time to be in our element of teaching, to do what gives you energy rather than what takes it from you. And that's why I told you our bank account becomes secondary. The accountability is that the students. Say after 15 years, 20 years, if they reflect your contribution, that is your big bank account than your crorepati or whatever it is. Okay, this is according to Ken Robinson. It's an important, useful statement for all teachers. Okay, thank you. So if you have any questions, I'll try to, So I thank Morgan sir. I didn't thank him because he gave a good for introducing me. I thought finally I can thank him. Again, I thank the management and this organizer of this FDP program for giving an opportunity for sharing my, the learned experience on inquiry-based learning. This is supposed to be happen in October, but it's pushed to December, right? Okay, fine. So if you have any questions, please feel free to interact. I learn from you.
Good evening, sir. And we are very fortunate to have Dr. Murugan, Dr. S. Murugan, Associate Professor of Coimbatore University as a FDP resource person here. And sir is a friend and colleague for us in microbiology department, and we have a nice time joining together, working together for a project and so many extension activities. It's not related to our topic what you have presented, yes, sir. Thanks for your inquiry-based presentation today. And what all the extension activities you are carrying out in Coimbatore University, and I just wanted to know about that, and the socially relevant works you are communicating to through students, social relevant activities to community. And the second thing is, on what basis you are modifying your curriculum, and what frequently you are modifying your curriculum for your students.
Okay, right. About extension activities, like till last year we had a free time to go out and come in, and now since our students' attendance is very strictly followed. Okay, they made to 80%, and they say you can use that remaining 20% for your personal, sick, and so on. And we don't give OD for the students for going these activities. So students are not really interested actually. They ask, will you give physical attendance, sir? I'll come with you. We have so many ideas, but still I tune my students, but they say, sir, my attendance is marked absent. But I'll get OD, but my students will not get this physical attendance. Okay, there will be marked absence. Therefore, now I just like I am not much into this extension activities. To say from some ideas you can do with this, awareness on sexual harassment, which I trained my second year mentees, girls. Okay, sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is in every pocket. Harassment, not only by physical, by words, everywhere it is there. Students are not really tuned actually. Okay, students are not really tuned, though. See, like as I told in the beginning that they have a cell phone from where they can get all kinds of informations. But if you check very carefully, you can find out that none of them use that cell phone for subject, not even for research. Okay, right? That you might have observed. I don't know here the cell phone is allowed or banned. I don't know, but we see visibly that students do not use the cell phone for resourceful informations. They use it only for chatting and other, downloading movies and watching the movies. Because of attendance, we are not going for that. I told them to do with sexual harassment, one thing. Second thing is you can go with reproductive disease, awareness on reproductive diseases. Attendance. No attendance is not there. I think the management really should speak about this. We don't give for attendance for students.
So you have an extension activity.
We have, ma'am. We have we have on Saturdays actually, ma'am, please. We have on Saturdays, we call non-academic Saturdays. Okay, we have around 17 clubs. Okay, non-academic Saturday.
So each Saturday is said to be non-academic.
Not each Saturday, ma'am. For a semester, 4 Saturdays. Okay. Totally 8 Saturdays in a year. Totally 8 Saturdays in a year and 4 Saturdays in a semester. Where I'm associated with Nature Club, N1 Nature Club, where when my coordinator tells, I have to obey actually. It will be mostly with the nature related activities. And again, on the same Saturday, we'll have other assignment also. Sometimes I have to do that assignment or I have to drop this. It's a very stifling challenges nowadays actually, to balance with all those things. And with your, again you asked about the curriculum changes, when we get circular from the registrar, we go with, and we always get input from our alumni, from the employees, from the parents, from the
certificate courses you have offered.
No, we don't have certificate course. From our program, we don't have certificate course.
No certificate.
We don't have certificate course because ASCT has come down with lot of regulations. ASCT, they said number of credits should be reduced. Students should be given more free timings actually. Don't burden with the students with more credits because we'll have first PG we had around 6 subjects in first semester. Now we have only 4 subjects.
What about the maximum credit for UG, sir? Maximum credit to get UG. The program for UG.
UG, I think I'm a member of that board of studies. My curriculum coordinator, she knows that. I think some 190 or 192 credits, including project, 12 hours project, 12 credit per project. Because it's spread for 8 semesters. So I think 190.
When you are starting your project work, sir, for students?
Project work, we'll assign our guides when they come to our department. Say for example, second year itself. When they come to second BTech, we assign the project guides. Those who are really interested, they'll come to the guide and they'll talk. We'll encourage them to attend seminar, conferences, do poster presentation. But students' attitude, they come only at the beginning of 8th semester. That is, we have just begun our semester on Monday. On Monday, you can see packed of students, they came. They didn't come during the holidays. They come, they'll say, sir is not there because we had class, we have go there. He'll say, we are not given any work. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
But I'll tell you for the, since all teachers are burdened with publications, you might think, I don't know about UG program, I don't know whether you have a project or not. You have a project here, ma'am? Okay. What you can do is that you can ask your students to write review article. You can ask your students to write review article because at the end of the day, the paper is going to pay for us. Because simply we invest more of time for the discussion and so on, but finally we don't get any output. But students get some kind of credit. But what are we getting? We don't get anything. Finally, management will say that no contribution from you. Okay, we do all activities, but finally they say that is all part and parcel. You do admission work, okay, fine, that is, you do this, no. Finally, what is your product? What is your pattern? What is publication? What is your project? That's how we have been assessed actually. Now, in our institution, we have every 15 days we have to update the online sheet, every 1 month. And we have given undertaking also, that 1 year we will do all those things. Then they will say that you will get a mail that these are your undertaking, but you are not achieved. And few of our friends they have to leave the institution also. Recently, because of this performance, some of the faculties have to leave the institution also. That's we have lost many good friends also because of this streamlining process.
Have you applied for any copyright?
Sorry, ma'am?
Me,
patenting? No, I have not gone to the patenting level. I have not gone to the patent level. Since I am accustomed with NARF, okay, then AQR, NBA, NAC, IQAC from my department. So that itself, that's why I told that NARF sir that whenever I get a call from IQAC, I really get agitated actually. Because I asked my IQAC director, sir, you are asking all kinds of data, I work for a day till evening, and finally, where is the visibility? When come to the selection of faculty, you say publications. You don't talk about all your administrative work. So thank you. I hope I have not wasted your time, right? I think I have complemented your sitting purpose during this FDP program. I think at least 50% of the sensor is about inquiry based learning. Please practice, okay? Right? When you practice only, you know the difficulties. We'll read the minds of the students. Thank you all the best.
Hope you are all enjoyed the session. So at this juncture, I would like to quote the words of our former principal, that is our first principal, Dr. Palanisamy sir. Nation is built within the four walls of the classroom. So frequently, whenever there is he organizes any meeting, he usually convey the message. Nation is built within the four walls of the classroom. So we are all the people, faculty, as a faculty members, we are dealing with the millennium, that is Gen Y students. Even that was rightly pointed out by Dr. Saravanan sir in the morning session. Even a survey that says majority of the population in India, that is less than 30 compared to the world population. So that's why after 10 to 15 years, that survey, the same survey that says India is going to become as a superpower. Now America, they are ruling all the countries. Now India is going to become a superpower after 15 years. That is in the hands of the youngsters. So we are going to play a very important role for molding the students, either for constructive purpose or destructive purpose. So destructive in the sense, all of you are aware about what is going on in Kashmir. Most of the youngsters, they were all directed to destructive purpose. They are all acting against the country of India. But it is in the hands of the teachers only. We have to convert all the students as a constructive purpose point of view. We have to convert our country as a superpower in the forthcoming years. With these few words, I would like to, on behalf of organizer, I would like to thank our Dr. Murugan sir for his valuable inputs. One way or other, we are going to introduce or implement his words in the forthcoming years. Thank you for your opportunity.
I thank Dr. S. Murugan, Professor, Karunya University, Coimbatore, for sharing his importance of various resources available in inquiry-based learning. Thank you, sir.
A kind attention. We request all the heads of the departments to stay back as there is an arrangement for meeting, and all the faculty members can go for refreshment. The refreshment is arranged in the downstairs. I request all the outside participants and the faculty members to go for the refreshment. All the heads of the department are asked